Now, in this video, based off of the title and the thumbnail, you're probably wondering what I'm trying to get at, but let me clarify, I'm not here to bash any manga or point at any mangas and call them overrated. In fact, this video is a quote-unquote examination, you will, of the term overrated, and kind of why I've always had an issue with people using it, because even as a sports fan, as somebody who loves basketball and as a soccer player, I've heard this term used so many times, but yet honestly, I feel like it's used a little more than it should be. And here's why. Over my course on YouTube, especially recently this last month, where I've kind of been expanding and talking about different animes and mangas, I've noticed that no matter what I talk about, I always see this word pop up sooner or later. This series is overrated. And honestly, what's funny at times is it's not even the series that I'm talking about in the video. Sometimes it's another series that I brought up. And so the actual definition of overrated would be something that's overestimated, overvalued. People give it more value and more praise than it actually deserves. But here's the thing. For the most part, I feel like that's constantly making an assumption on what everyone else thinks. Now, to be fair, I understand that some series do sell a ton. And my thing is if it sells that much and it sells a lot, good for the author, we should be happy for him. But if we're being honest, I feel like that term is usually used not because of the manga itself, but because of a reaction to the fan bases of said manga. I saw someone say something like this in a comment and it really stood out to me, and it's the fact that usually the most toxic people within the fan base are the ones that bark the loudest. And so even though they might be a small portion of the fan base, because they speak the most, it gives off the impression that the entire fan base is like that, and therefore the entire fan base gets a bad rap. And so then we feel the need to use the term overrated. But my issue with that term many times is the fact that not everybody thinks the same. You see, with my experience and time on YouTube and as an anime and manga fan in recent years, it all depends on who you ask and what group of people you're around. Now, I'll use Demon Slayer as an example because I usually hear that one get called overrated the most. Now, I'm not fully caught up on Demon Slayer, but I've seen a good portion of it, and well, I'm a huge Inosuke fan and all that, but I'm not gonna get into how good I actually think it is. Just allow me to use it as an example real quick. If you were to ask people who have only read things such as Demon Slayer, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, My Hero Academia, things that are seen as very mainstream and gateway animes, if you will, then of course they're going to think Demon Slayer is phenomenal. And if Demon Slayer is their first introduction into anime and manga, well then they are going to have the same love for it as we did way back then with Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. But then again, you have another group of people that have a little more, I would say, a wide variety with their animes and mangas and have seen things that are a little more critically acclaimed, and they're gonna look at Demon Slayer and be like, this is overrated, I don't see what's good about it. And then you have people in the middle, who would be somebody like me, who sees these new up-and-coming series and says, you know what, these things have good qualities to them and I can see why people like them a lot. However, I definitely think there are things better than said anime or manga. Now, I'm not here to say that you can't have your opinion on whatever it is, again, using Demon Slayer as an example. If you don't like it, you don't like it. For example, I don't like Boruto. Does it have positive things about it in the manga? Again, specifically in the manga? Yes, of course. But I still don't like it at the end of the day. But I think it's a lot better to just say that you don't like it, and then formulate your argument from there as to why you don't like it. Because I feel like if you have to use the term overrated, now you're presenting an argument to try and convince the other person as to why their opinion is wrong. When instead of just pointing out what the series does have and what the series doesn't have, and then allowing the other person to make their own decision at the end of the day. But again, to be fair, if there's somebody who's just recently getting into anime and manga and they haven't read some of the stuff that is a little more critically acclaimed, then it's gonna be a lost cause trying to convince them that whatever they think is that amazing isn't that amazing if they haven't read anything else. And so I kind of ask you at the end of the day, what really makes a manga overrated? If it derives really from just this series is a lot more popular than I think it needs to be, well then again, is it really overrated then? Because yeah, it's popular, but again, back to the point that I was getting at, is that if a lot of those people who are praising it that much haven't really had experience with all of these other mangas that came before it that are critically acclaimed and is seen as amazing, then why are we taking that opinion with such a heavy weight? Now, I'm not saying that somebody has to read everything. I have not yet read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I have read many other things. And so even though I cannot give a valid opinion on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure yet, I can give a somewhat valid opinion on the quality of a manga considering all of the time that I've invested analyzing and looking through different mangas. However, with that being said, there are definitely other people a lot more qualified than just me to give an opinion on a manga. All because I'm a YouTuber doesn't make my opinion any more valid than yours, especially if you read more than me, which honestly you probably have. But getting back to what I was going at is that, again, bringing this example into sports, is that are you really going to take the opinion seriously about LeBron from somebody who doesn't sit down and watch basketball? Get what I mean? They can have whatever opinions they want, but I mean, if they don't know, they don't know, you know? And so, essentially what I'm trying to get at is I feel like we shouldn't fall into this, and I don't want to use the word trap, but for lack of a better term, I'm going to use it anyways. We shouldn't really fall into this trap of reacting to other people and other fan bases when, again, not everybody thinks like that fan base. Going back to the experience with Demon Slayer, based off of my experience, I've heard Demon Slayer be called overrated and trash way more than I've heard it praised in the comment section. But does that then make Demon Slayer underrated? Again, if it's all based on a matter of perspective, then that changes on who you interact with on a day-to-day basis. And so essentially you'll notice yourself kind of reacting to all of these other people instead of formulating and kind of solidifying your own thought on whatever you're reading. And so similar to a video I did a while ago, Don't Ruin It for Others, is yes, some people are toxic within those communities, but a mistake I've made, and one that I'm going to try to correct from now on, is we shouldn't assume all people in said fanbase are like that. So at the end of the day, I would suggest maybe using the term overrated less. Again, if you've used this term, I'm not here trying to tell you, oh, you're a horrible person. No, because I've used it also. But actually say, oh, I think it's good, but maybe not that good for these reasons, instead of just saying it's overrated, because then you're gonna have to deal with the toxic fans. Get what I mean? I don't know, it was just something I kind of wanted to talk about, you know, and get out of the way, because yesterday I read like 120 something chapters of Attack on Titan. My brain hurts. I don't feel like reading anything today. This will probably be the only video I do today. So yeah, as always, this has been The Masked Man. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of the day, and peace.